It's my great pleasure to introduce Leah Chishugi to you. You would have in front of you the flyer which tells you a little bit about her background and her experience surviving the Rwandan genocide and what she's done subsequently in creating a charity to assist with women who are suffering trauma in a way that she could relate with personally. And I just wanted to read something about my response after reading Leah's book. And so this is how I'd like to introduce her. So Leah Chishugi has provided readers with a detailed and moving account of how one young woman, very young woman, and her baby survived despite being caught in Kigali as the Rwandan genocide unfolded in April 1994. What Leah does is directly confront us with the inexplicable brutality as well as the sometimes overwhelming generosity of friends and strangers. So it is a story of survival. And so Leah takes us on that painful yet ultimately rewarding journey through loss, through struggle, and through self-reflection. And how Leah survived is a story of courage and determination, I found, driven by the desire to escape what had happened to her, to escape that horror, to discover some sense of security, some sense of safety after what she'd been through, and, of course, to protect her 6-month-old son, and that came through very strongly as part of her story. So I'd very much like to welcome Leah. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. As I said, my name is Leah Chishugi. What a privilege for me to be here today and to see all of you here. I mean, for me, as again I say, everything is a benefit. I'm so glad to be here in Sydney, to have an opportunity to be in Australia, and to see all these humble people who welcome me and with warmth. So I am so glad to be here. I dreamt to be here sometime. I explain it in my book. With the first family actually who gave me warmth, it was an Australian family that I live with in Fishhook in South Africa. Those are the people that now I look back and I decide that to be a human being, it's nice, because they encouraged me when I look back that they didn't know who I was. I have problem to survive in South Africa because I couldn't speak proper English. I couldn't speak Zulu, Xhosa, Ndebele, or Swana. I was just having difficulty really and lost. I experienced racism, but not with white, but with black. And the people who really encouraged me to stay and give me warmth, they were Australian family. So somehow, even if it seems very far, in my life, I managed to be here today. So thank you again, Australia. And I hope really to find my first family who are Australian, the Green family. I hope I'll be able to find them before I leave Australia. So thank you for having me. And tonight, I would really love to say again that it's nice to be here. I apologize because I'm a bit tired with the tour, and I like the subject of today because it's subject about trauma, justice, and I'm sure some of you today are thinking, how is she standing here with everything that she's been through? Again, it's human nature. And it's the everyday process, which I have to really all the time remember that I am a chosen one to fight for peace. I am a chosen one to realize that I can transform pain into medicine. I can transform suffering to happiness. So therefore, all the time, I have to force myself to fight for others with transforming my pain, my poison into medicine. So thank you for having me here today, Sydney. I am very glad. Thank you. And I do run a charity that it's called Everything is a Benefit. actually is not doing well at the moment. So I apologize because the charity chose me. I did not choose the charity. So therefore, in 2008, somebody else actually, in case some of you are thinking, why is it that I run a charity? And I'm sure Sydney, a lot of people have difficulty to find it, is because I don't know nothing really about computers. So and fundraising, I'm terrible. So my website is a bit freezing at the moment. We are working on it. And I'm sure very soon, because I'm here, but somebody else is working on it in London. And after writing a book, I really suffer from trauma, and I become very depressed. I was shocked the amount of the power of my brain, how much it protects me by not remembering the pain. But when I finished writing the book, I experienced a lot of pain. I went in a coma for about 21 days in London UCL hospital. Therefore, the charity did froze a bit, because I have charity start at home. And for me to treat the women and children that I was supporting since 2004 and 2008, I have to feel better first. So therefore, I was a bit selfish since last year to deal with myself, to deal with my own trauma, to deal with my own suffering. And we both, me and my son, went through the same thing. I'm feeling better. I am fine. I just discovered that I will be in pain and for almost the rest of my life. But I'm also dealing with that anger. I'm sorry if I sound a bit upset, knowing that for the rest of my life I have to be taking painkillers every day. So it's upsetting me, but I'm sure I will be fine. The only thing that makes me happy, actually, very soon, it will be my work that I do, which is to support women and children in East Congo. I'm sure some of you are thinking, why East Congo? Again, in my book, there is a reason why I chose to work in East Congo. And I get this question all the time: you Rwandese, you should maybe focus in East Congo. For me, I got to say, I don't know who I am really, because in my journey, so many people did help. In my journey, I just realized I don't have a tribe, I'm just a good human being. I realized that without me being an ambassador of peace and justice, I would die unhappy. And the only way I could find a place in my heart to forgive humanity, to forgive the world, is if myself I start the first step. Why the East Congo? Because I did grow up in East Congo. I have privilege of growing up with good parents who, unfortunately, the war did not allow me to grow up. The woman who's standing here today decided to forget how her father looked like, even if they were taken away from me when I was 16. That's the only way I think I could protect myself. I don't remember how my big sisters and brother looked like. It doesn't mean I was a child. It means the world decided to make me disabled. I just want Sydney, the world, to understand what war can do to a human being. It's sad. I'm sorry. I've been talking about this for quite a years, but it never stopped me from crying, so please do not feel sad. Just let me cry, because it's my everyday exercise. Hopefully, is the way I can heal. One day I'll stop. Also, I cry because in my book I said I didn't have tears. Actually, the first time tears came out of my eyes was in 2007, the end of 2007, when I went to Calgary, again running from I was running from knife crime in London. My son is 18 years old now. Actually, the end of October, he'll be 18. Last year, we experienced a knife crime terribly. Children were killing each other in London, in every borough of London, with knife. There, the world changed again. For me, I thought I stopped running, I'm in London. But because I'm an overprotective mother, because everything I have left is just my son, Jean-Luc, and I'm grateful. So therefore, I forgot sometimes as a grown-up adult, for me, is because it's everything I have to protect it. When the knife started in London, I forgot all the good things that Jean-Luc does in London. I decided to run far away as possible. So I went to Calgary. It's the first time for me to actually go to Canada, and the place where I decided to go is Calgary. Calgary is quite a new town. It's a new kind of world. It's not really very opening, but I love it. That's where I experienced tears, really running. I could cry inside, but I didn't have tears coming out, so which was making me even more bitter. And I realized that I treasure the world and I treasure everything, and I am grateful for just a little things could make me happy now that somebody else won't be happy about it. Then I went to Banff in Calgary. I went to visit Lake Louise. It was around May, where the beautiful mountain is in between the sunshine, and the mountain is full of a little bit of ice, so the snow is still there. And the nature went inside me and triggered something that I did not even plan. I had tears pouring out like rain. And I was actually there doing another voluntary work because I have a friend of mine, she's Jewish, she's very old, and in my book I said I love old people. So I chosen that one because she had an accident sometime in London when she was 20, and she had the epilepsy, which stopped her actually from fear of flying. So since she was 19, 20 years old, recovering from her suffering, she never gone back, even travel. So she's an old lady now. She's a big lady, but she's a bit disabled. So I encouraged her for the first time to reach at the airport. And I said, you know why? Me and you, we are both going to have a holiday. We're going to Calgary. You're going to help me to fund a school for my son. And me and my son, we're going to move to Calgary. By reaching there, as I was saying, is the mountain, the view of Banff, to see all these people have a different attitude from what I have. The nature make me cry. Cry that actually I went back, and that's where I came up with the name Everything is a Benefit, because I realized the tears was coming out, and I say, if the war was not in Rwanda, and I'm sorry this is gonna sound a bit strange, I won't dream of being in Calgary. Doing what? Because my country, it's in French, le pays des mille collines. It's called the country of 1,000 hills. Means if you go to Rwanda, for those who haven't been there, it's beautiful, it's green, it's nice. Believe me or not, we have a beautiful kindness. Rwandese people, we are very calm. We love to dance. We share, it says it all in my book. And there is nowhere, if there was peace in my country, if there were no genocide. We have a beautiful neighborhood. Our neighbor in Congo, you find everything in Congo if you concentrate. Before my time, we share the Congo and Rwanda. You won't know because you just cross the border, you find another culture, you come this side, you find us. I remember in Zaire, President Mobutu used the dance like Intore, which is our dance, but they dance it in national television in Congo, in Zaire. Means we were happy. So when I was there, what I thought it was, if the war didn't happen, if the genocide was, I won't see this side of the country, which is beautiful. I won't be in Canada, I won't be in Calgary. Maybe I'll come and I won't see the beauty. I could come to visit, but I wasn't not appreciating everything. In my book, I said I already travel everywhere, but I was seeing the world in a different way. But now I see the world in a different way. I arrived yesterday when I went to see the Opera House. I only see it in the New Year's, where it's beautiful. Sydney is one of the beautiful things that's, New Year Eve, you want to sit on your television so you can see everything that is happening. And for me, believe me or not, what makes me happy and really grab my glass of champagne is Sydney. It is. It makes me say, okay, now, I never celebrate with the Big Ben. I celebrate with Sydney because I do like the Opera House. And I reached there last night just to buy my ticket. I had a 1 hour free today, and I said, I don't want to go and grab a quick lunch. I really want to spend it by the tour. I was shaking. I was crying. But it was tears of joy to be here. Tears of joy to see the way my journey make me visit Sydney in different way, but with grateful. I was so grateful. I'm sure maybe it sounds very normal to you, but for me, just little things made me be grateful to be alive because of what I've been through. People ask me a lot of questions. What makes you write the book? There are so many books of genocide. I think if I can count, I haven't get really, because they're very difficult book to read, and it's everybody else's experiences, and everybody have their own way to express it. When I thought about writing my book, I was actually, I go to say that is my masterpiece, because I thought and forced myself to remember almost every details, to make sure that my book, I wanted to be different, actually, to help us Rwandese, first of all. I wanted Rwandese people to understand that we are all one, and also it did take two people to tango. I wrote it because I want us, my nature, my beautiful Rwanda, to understand that for us to have really peace, we have to work together, and we have really to be strong and to take it straight from the bottom of our heart, and to not force ourselves to forgive or to forget quickly, but to love each other and to think that Rwanda, it was just meant to be like that, so we can start the world, a new world that's going to encourage us, not the situation that's happened, and make the world think that Rwanda, we are bad, we are horrible people, we brought up a most horrible experience to a humankind. But genocide did not start in Rwanda. Jewish people went through genocide. That's another reason why I thought I need to put my little bit, I'm not very intelligent, but I thought my imagination is going to help. My experience is going to help the whole world to understand that war, gun, machete, violence is not a solution. Dialogue, talking, is what can bring peace to the world. What happened in Holocaust, when I start to read about, actually not really read, because I never like violence. I can't watch horror movie. And if by accident I came up to watch a horror movie since I was a child, I have to play something else that's going to make me happy. I am a Buddhist now, but I don't think I'm a good Buddhist, because Buddhism says that any experience you come across is your own karma. You have to face it, and you have to change it. But why mine? Why Rwanda? Why Congo? Why Yugoslavia? Why? I can't understand all that. But I hope one day I will achieve it. And I'll finish my karma, because it's a little bit too much. I got somebody that I don't even wish to forgive, actually. He was not in my generation. It's called Hitler. I try very hard, everywhere, even when I go to German people, actually, they are nice people. I got lots of friends from German. But Hitler's spirit makes me not like German. I'm there, and when I go to see my friends, his spirit doesn't leave me alone, because he's the guy that I don't understand how his mind works. I wish I could forgive him, even maybe forget. I can't. So therefore, I decided to do it in my own way. Maybe people think I'm very strong. Maybe, but I don't feel so, because in any situation, I'm so glad today I was talking to some doctors, and I have incredible team of doctors in London that works with me. My psychiatrist, she's incredible. It's a group of them, but they are amazing. I can focus in one thing, because anger doesn't help. I'm just trying vaguely to express what the genocide in Rwanda really did to me. To live, to be me now is even difficult. I lost my father, my brothers, my sisters, my friends, my good neighbor. I pass all the time the message of those who have their family, even their uncle, even their cousin. Just treasure them, because for me, I don't have any. When I come, for example, in Sydney, I find some friends. I make them my family. My friends, they have trouble, because I force them to be my family, and I really get involved. But it doesn't stop me for when my birthday is coming. In my book, I say that I was very upset with my mom when she really died for real now this time. She's gone. It was in 2008. They killed almost everybody in my family, all my family. They were killed. But somehow I did not believe that my mom was dead. Even if we were separated since 1994, I only found her in 2004. Unfortunately, she rushed after 2004. Then she died again for real in 2008. But when I found her, it was most beautiful things ever happened to me. It makes me forget all the pain that I had, almost all of it. I begged her to come to London, but because she was stubborn. She had other family that she created in Uganda, that she said, I can't come and live with you. These are my children now. You are grown up, I'm gonna look after these ones. Which now they become my responsibility. Even if I don't know them, they become my responsibility. Therefore, my mom gave me a lot of love, actually, that helped me to stand here today. And I thought my love only started when I met her, not when she gave me birth, but when I met her after the war. That's when my life really started. Because she will find she didn't care about anything else as long as she have a phone, which I was paying the bill, but she have to call me. She remembered my birthday. She was so happy, I think, also to find me, because she make my life easy this couple of years. I mean, these few years that she was here, she make it me understand that I could really open up my heart and find these women and make them my family and love them for real and try deep inside my heart to fight, because actually before that I was really selfish. As I said, that's what I thought. Everything that I knew, it was just how to pay my bills, to make my son happy, to really go shopping and do stuff. All that changed. After she passed away, I really understand her message. She said to me, there is no such a thing as Hutu and Tutsi. She said to me, that is destruction. This is a woman who lost everything she ever worked for. She said, I forbid you to think that way. Just look at the world as a beautiful land with different kind of flowers. That's why there is white, yellow, Chinese, all this continent is like flowers. The guy up there, which if he exists, he just sees us as a beautiful flowers. She said, that's what you need to put in your mind. There is no such a thing as white, black, yellow, Hutu, Tutsi, Congolese. I want you to try so hard to put Rwanda, Congo, Burundi together in your own way. I say, what a mission. I can't do that. Zairian, they hate us already. They think because of Rwanda, 1994, that's why they are suffering. She said again, distraction, ma chérie, distraction. She said that is distraction. I mustn't think about it in that way. I mean, I know there is so many people who goes to Rwanda, to Congo. Somebody like me is a really target in Congo, right? I'll get killed. I'm a Tutsi. I'm a Rwandese. She said, no, you're not. You're Congolese. I said, what do you mean? She said, you speak Lingala, right? I said, yeah. Swahili? Yes. French? Yeah. She said, when you go there, just think of it as if you are just a Congolese who's trying to help, a human being who's trying to help. That did not work, actually. The first time I went there, instead of them calling me Rwandese, Congolese, whatever, they say, you are Muzungu. What? She said, you are white, you Muzungu. I said, no. They thought I work for the UN, they thought all sorts of stuff. Then I say, I speak their language. I give them my experience. I show them my videos. I show them my pictures. Then they remember. And they, is that you? I say, yeah. And I fought. I didn't realize the courage I have actually to go and even in Kinshasa and challenge the parliament of Kinshasa. My videos about these women being raped, I didn't care my nationality. That's when I decide I'm really not a Rwandese. I'm not a British. I am not Congolese. I'm just a human being who's trying to make a change. And that helped me. Coming on why I decided to write a book, I really want the people to not read my book as if it's just a newspaper. I know how I read my newspaper in the morning because I just choose for the happy stuff. That's what I read. I don't like sad things. So in London, actually, they'll just tell you where the problems are. Sometimes I think, where is the good news? We could use some good news, right? And I don't find it. My book is not just about genocide in Rwanda. It's not just about suffering. There is a lot of happiness, messages for families, experience about trauma, because I know you don't have to go just in through what I've been through. I know each and everybody have different problems that create a different kind of trauma in their life. But because through my journey, I've been through a lot, if I don't force myself to heal and to understand what my body goes, gonna let you into a secret. Every week, I have 2 days of my body shutting down completely. I won't eat, I won't drink, I'll just go into a very deep exhaustion and sleep, and I'll lose those 2 days for every day of my life. Use these tears, Australia, to find peace in your country. It's very difficult to express what I've been through, what I'm missing. I just hope that I'm not the kind of person who feels sorry for myself. I hate. Actually, what makes me sad and cry all the time when I talk about this is to see that as human beings, the world is not trying hard to see a 16 years old that is hiding inside me and wish they could give me 30 minutes to be with my family. Just 30 minutes, even 5. I have a lot to tell them. I have a lot to tell my sisters. I'm sorry for breaking their lipstick and stuff, just stupid things. But I miss all that. Sorry to tell my dad where I had his cigar. He never found them. Because I never want him to smoke. I thought, you can do anything else. I hated to see him having his cigar with his friends. I wish I can see him and tell them where I hide them. I cry to see that I watch news. I have friends who, they're so busy. They don't want to pick up their mother's call. I know there are some of them in here. When they call, just tell them I'm busy. I'll call her next week. Don't do that. It's so painful. I wish I did that Even if I were granted 4 years to be with my mom this time, sometimes I've been wrapped up in my life and forget to tell her so many things. War is destroying. I think about Afghanistan. I saw September 11. All that we don't understand that is cause and effect. 10 years of war in Afghanistan. Are we not tired? I broke my TV because of anger. 10 years, 12 years of stealing, taking petrol. You just take good. You forget hospital, all those children. I don't know if my 6-year-old son, suffering, a baby can't express their pain they're having. So the baby in Afghanistan, the bullets everywhere, through a child. I hate when I'm cooking and cutting my knife. Soldiers, no arm, sending children, your little ones, to go and fight in Afghanistan. Then prepare the memorial place for heroes. Sorry, my French, bollocks. That's not a solution. I just come from Congo. I went to Walikale. I don't know how many of you have been to volunteer in East Congo. The UN is everywhere. Why they can't use an experience of all so many countries where the UN went and see that that's waste of money, economic crisis. I'm not that intelligent, but I'm not stupid either. I don't see, and I'm not ashamed to say, I don't see why the UN, what is it doing in Congo? When there is these women who are suffering. I just come from Walikale, not too far away from the UN. I'm sorry I'm raising my voice. I'm sorry I have the anger voice at the moment. But they failed to help us in Rwanda. They're still failing. For 10 years, this problem is happening in Congo. Women are getting raped and killed in the name of what? It's not just in Teraham we are doing it. Everybody is doing it. They can't call them rebels from Rwanda anymore because they've been there more than 16, 17 years now. They become Congolese. International communities, Rwanda's, Congo, they need to be together and teach them what else to do than give them gun. We are not Russian, but there is all sort of gun in those forests. And there are children who are trying them. It's children who are carrying them. In my film here, I'm just showing how many children are running away with their guns, coming and telling me, I want to drop this one, and I want to come to school. Using children to go into the field and dig gold and diamonds. These children are 5 years old, 7. Their lungs are not strong enough to go and deal with chemicals and stuff. They are dying every single day. Some of them, actually, they're not forced to go there. They just take themselves there because that's in the forest, that's where they can find food, they find pen, they just use them, but they just give them nothing. Why can we not taking that, you take a little from Congo or Rwanda or wherever, and give a little? I'm one of the people who actually guilty of using a BlackBerry phone. The phone that we are using is full of blood. The phone that we are using, the laptop, all this stuff, especially China, you think China and, Guangzhou is taking a lot. Exchange with guns. we are using phone without, lots of us don't know where it's coming from. Women's blood, children's blood. Nowadays, the rebels are using things, black magic. If I rape, when they come to kill me, they won't see me as long as I'm raping a young child. Seriously, isn't that brainwash? I don't know exactly what I'm doing in the Congo, but I know I'm just contribute a little to help these women to understand, first of all, they are not objects. They are not, some of them, they say, maybe we were born to suffer. Nobody was born to suffer. I'm sure the world, Australia, is going to help us to help these women and children who are suffering. For me, my new philosophy, I think, the world is a big house, a very big house, our house, that is up to us to clean our house. It's up to us to make our house tidy, nice place to be. It's up to us to make our house, our world, a better place to be. By really not supporting war. By really experience, because at the moment, I'm worried when I feel my pain, when I see the things that I go through every single day. I'm worried about those who can't speak for themselves. The children who are lying down in a hospital and they can't express what is going on in their mind. I've been everything through the trauma. I've been blind, deaf, disabled. As I said, I go in a coma almost every week, every month. The last time was just last month. I was lying down. Now I'm grateful for me because I'm in London. I have good doctors who really give me the signals. When it happened, I know when to call the ambulance and go and lie and be in a coma for a week for no reason. I'm healthy. I don't have anything I don't have any disease apart from trauma that it's only now I realize that I can face it. What about those who can't? For example, women and children who the society are throwing away because they think they are witch. They think their children, they are witch. They're burning them in some villages in Rwanda in Congo, without knowing they are nothing wrong with them. They are not crazy, but it's just a lot of trauma they are suffering. So Sydney, the world, help me to make our house a better place. Thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Before inviting Jenny and Leah up for the discussion, I just want to say thank you to Leah from all of us, but personally also for reminding me. Now, okay. When I say that I do research in post-genocide countries after mass violence, people say, isn't that depressing? And I say, no, it's not, because I see it as hearing this determination. If anybody is more determined than anybody to stop violence, stop war, to stop genocide, it's those who've been through it. And that's what I get from that, is that the pain, the trauma, and then what comes out at the other end is the human resilience and the human commitment and passion to make some difference about it. So, okay. So, having said that, thank you. I'd like to invite both Jenny and Leah to come up and we'll have a little bit of a discussion and then move into some questions and answers as well. Thank you. Right, okay. So I think, right. So I might start by actually introducing Dr. Jenny Dawson a little bit further to you, and give Jenny a chance to talk about what she does, and then open up to a few questions for both Leah and Jenny as part of our sort of panel discussion here. Is that working? Can you hear me? I can hear the reverberations. As Meredith mentioned before, Dr. Jennifer Dawson has both a master's and a PhD in clinical psychology, and has been working and researching in trauma-related field, as far as I can tell, for that whole period. How long is that now? How many years have you been working with trauma-related issues?
I've been working in the Congo for the last 6 years.
And trauma more generally? Trauma-related?
Trauma. I have a private practice here in Sydney and work with trauma, but I did my PhD on trauma following large-scale disasters. I began studying neurotransmitter function following trauma, and both my supervisors left and I lost the equipment. And long story short, I ended up in Africa teaching local leaders, and the Congolese asked me to come back because they said, your model is the first model that makes any sense. It's community-based, not individual. So I ended up switching my PhD to studying the impact of trauma on the individual and community, and did the PhD, and then I've since gone back for the last 6 years working there.
So can you say a little bit more about what you described as ecological trauma theory, and how does that link in with your approach to training, cross-cultural, and because it fascinated me, so also coming originally from a background in clinical psychology, then moving into international relations and looking at what does reconciliation mean, what does trauma mean, how do people recover, what does this mean, what happens when you think about a Western system or a Western, inverted commas, approach, and how does that translate in these different contexts? So that's what I was very interested in about what you've been doing.
Even in the West, the traditional counselling model actually makes trauma worse. So research is very solid now that the traditional counselling following trauma actually increases the risk of PTSD. So
what is it and why?
What is
the traditional counselling method?
The traditional...
And why is it worse?
Well, you can read it in the research.
No, I want to hear you say what it is.
I don't think it's appropriate now, but I will answer, is the traditional counselling approach is to talk about the trauma, to have a cathartic response, to draw pictures, to go over the trauma over and over, to fill in the gaps. That kindles the brain and carries a high risk of actually causing reliving. So if you look in the journals, it's very well documented now. Particularly in these countries, is while there is a current threat in the environment, talking about the trauma just keeps re-triggering it over and over and over until in the end, it's like our soldiers, is they relive the trauma. So until you address the threat and provide safety, you can't really get people to talk about the trauma. So based on what we knew of that, and the individual is always embedded in a context, so unless you address the context, it's very hard to help the individual. So I liked the name the ecological trauma theory because it's about an organism embedded in the community. So the approach that I use is always looking at the individual in that community. So in short, trauma is produced by a high exposure to trauma, current threat, low individual resources to deal with the threat, low environmental resources to deal with the threat, and low refuge. You will get high trauma symptoms. If you have high exposure to trauma, a more realistic appraisal of current threat, you increase the individual's resources and you increase the environmental resources and increase refuge. So these are cognitive, emotional, spiritual and physical, is you actually produce resilience and a stronger individual and a stronger community. So it's a very complex model, but trauma is complex. As you've heard Leah talk, it affects individuals, families, communities, it affects the brain, it affects countries, it produces a cycle of violence. So you must have a complex solution to a complex problem. So very short example is obviously we provide physical refuge when we can. Cognitive refuge is teaching skills to manage the trauma symptoms. Spiritual refuge, whatever their faith is, providing access for those people to come together and worship and dance in Africa. I love it. The dance is a really powerful healing. It's just dancing and singing. Whenever the people start collapsing from trauma, you pull out the drums and dance and sing, and it has a positive solution. So in one African on East Congo I work, we found a whole lot of orphans, naked, mute, living under plastic bags. Traditional counselling, talking to them wouldn't work. So they were fed food. We put them in foster homes, trained the widows in how to nurture them, trained the police in how to be their fathers, put them in a school, gave them education, skills to manage their trauma symptoms. They're now in secondary school. So it meant working with all layers of that society, providing health, schooling, skills, refuge. And those children are all fine now. So it's a complex model. It doesn't work with the individual, it works with the individual embedded in that particular context.
Yeah, it's the contextualisation, yeah. I wanted to ask Leah if you could say something. I was talking before about how when I was in Canada and some years, it was around about 2009, I think, about 5 years after the genocide and the violence in Rwanda, and I was conducting a focus group sort of interview, if you like, with Rwandans who'd survived the genocide and who'd resettled in Toronto, in Canada. And there were two brothers there, and one of them was talking about his experience, about what he experienced at the time of the genocide and immediately afterwards, and his feelings. And his brother, who was there, then said to me, after he said, I'd never heard that before. We hadn't talked about it before. And so my question then for Leah is like, if you can talk a bit about what it was like when you, I guess probably when you first got to the UK, in terms of, because you were still sort of running when you know, going through different countries in Africa, and then ending up in South Africa for a while, as you were saying, and then ending up in the UK before the little sojourn in Calgary. That when you arrived in the UK, it's like, what was it like for you? Did you have someone to talk with? Did you want to talk about what happened? What kind of support from a sort of, you know, as we're saying, sort of trauma kind of perspective, and what did make a difference then when and who you did talk with, and how did that then support you? Or was it about talking, or was it about dancing, or something else?
I mean, in London, for example, as I said, the group of almost all of us in Rwanda, Rwandese people who are in London, when, for example, I reached there, we have a group of all sort of refugees or asylum seekers that they are in there. For the beginning, I see for myself that we all avoid to say or to talk about what happened. We're trying to live the present. And most of the time we were hiding in all sort of stuff. I mean, for me, my experience was, and slowly we separate, but a group, and this actually is beautiful. I can only speak for myself, we know each other Rwandese, Burundian, and all that kind of place. Once we speak the same language. So even Congolese, in our community, we just decide we won't speak about it. We'll be happy. I reached London when I was really young. A spirit of dancing is still inside me. And most of us, we hide in drinking, having parties, dancing, and visit. I mean, we're just trying to live normal, but we don't talk about it. And we can visit each other. I find the togetherness. There was a time that actually a group, because for me, I have friends that I used to know in university, like Saint Fidel and in Gisenyi. And a group of us, we're trying to just be happy about everything else, really. Be normal, but we never talked about it. By the time where we decide maybe let's go back and see what happened. It separated us because now we're starting to see difference. For me, because most of the time it used to happen in my house, we are together, we celebrate Christmas together. I mean, we're trying to be normal people, like we don't have problem. When we sat down some time ago, actually since 2002, I remember the millennium, we're still fine and together. And the time where we wanted to go back, then we're starting to realize the difference. Oh, she's talking about this because she's a Hutu. She's thinking about this because she's a Burundian. Well, because now we can't even go to the nightclub in Zaire, in the Congolese place, because now we're starting to see the difference between us, which I'm afraid it separates us, everybody going their own side, when before we could party together without realize the difference. But then I realized that we lost that for some time just because one day we realized this is a Congolese, this is a Hutu, that is a Tutsi. It doesn't mean we fight, but then it just separates us. We can still call each other, like see each other in places where the events, like we can all go, but that togetherness is stopped just because we once trying to go back. So for me, I regret that. But thinking about what is individual, I just wish that my friends and they could just see that there's no, I mean, I think we are all dealing with it in our own way, which the diaspora in Europe or in Australia, they have a bit of chance because we are not forced to forget. Everybody, they're dealing with it in their own way, step by step. I was in a few events in London where actually our government is not allowed us to face the problem. Therefore, we think if we talk about it, again, it's fear of thinking, I'm already your friend, even if you're a Hutu and Tutsi, but if we talk about what happened, it's going to separate us. So therefore, we just avoid to talk about it. I just hope it's going to change. And that's why I encourage people to read the book, because for me, I'm so grateful. My book is just showing people that when I was in Kigali, I was a big target. Anybody could kill me because when that happened, Tutsis, they were really looking so bad. But it did not, when I look back, the whole experience helped me to understand and to forgive, and then actually majority of my friends, they are Hutu, and I love them because I don't see and I don't think that they are Hutu, I just see what is inside. It's beautiful. I'm a godmother of so many of my Rwandese friends who, I just hate it even to use the word Hutu in it, or it doesn't really matter to me now, but I think the reason is because I choose to look at it that way.
Yeah, thank you. That I know that we have quite a number of people in the audience as well who have come from Burundi, from Congo, from Rwanda, from other countries in Africa who are relating to that experience with your experiences settling into Sydney or being here as a student. So that could be very interesting to talk about. And so I'm thinking now that we should open to questions, if that's okay with you. Yeah, because we have only about 20 minutes before then we'll move into sort of book signing with Leah straight after that. Did you want to say something before I go?
No, I'm fine.
You're getting ready with the microphone. Very good. So so I wanted to sort of, what was it? I was trying to decide if there was anything else I wanted to say before opening up to questions. I think that's, so we'll take just to get an idea about how many people, and then we might take them in groups or individually depending on how many questions that we have. So either for Jenny and for Leah, and to try and to work through some of these issues that have come up today. Otherwise I'll take a chair's prerogative and ask the first question. So we've got, yes, who else do we have? Sorry, is there someone at the back? Is that what you're... I'm trying to see. No, come on. Okay, somebody over there. Anybody else? Yeah. Okay, I'll start with a couple over there, if that's okay, because of your question before. There was a young woman just there, and then there was somebody back there. Is that the, yep?
Yeah, hi. I'm just wondering, in terms of the shift from trauma to a sense of meaning and resilience, what do you think are some of the things that can produce that shift?
Pardon? Can you repeat the question?
In terms of a shift from trauma to a sense of meaning and resilience, what are some of the things that might produce that shift?
I mean, for me, I believe it could be anything else. It could be anger. It could be something that you saw and you just decide to not talk about it. It could be all sorts of stuff. It's just, I don't know, maybe you're in a good position.
I mean, you mentioned something then about that when you were at Lake Louise, and in the sense that was one of the things that somehow spoke to you that made a difference. Yeah, and it doesn't mean, and I think what's interesting, it doesn't mean it takes away the trauma, right? The trauma is still there, but how do you still, with that experience, be able to see what it is that you want to make a difference? Because you spoke very powerfully about the influence of your mother, and and things like that. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is to, actually, I just come from Brisbane, and I was giving a speech and listening to other people and also other authors, and I realized that there was a nice, beautiful, intelligent architect, I mean, really powerful woman, who her own side of trauma by losing her husband, and I mean, just make her stop writing, calculating. She couldn't make the figures. She could stop writing. And I'm sorry to hear that she read my book, and I haven't really have a chance to read hers because I was working in Congo, but the book came the week before I came here. And in my book, I said, when I reach in Kenya, I stop speak, write. My tongue was so heavy, I couldn't even spell my name. And as an adult, it upset me because I was thinking, I have a child in this world. If you don't work, you don't write, means I will never get a job, I will never work. Everybody are going to look at me as different. Nobody will believe that I can't pick a pen and write even my son's date of birth. That was upset me. But last week, it makes sense to hear that it's a problem that now I'm writing, I can read, I can laugh, but it's a different, for me, I was actually a little bit happy to hear that it happened to somebody else. And she couldn't wait to meet me because, I mean, for her, it only lasts for 2 months, but for me, it lasts for so long. And to leave Kenya, reach London, it was kind of difficult to tell people when they say, put your name down. I started to have personal assistant since, I mean, just by force, I'll say to my son, you write it. Slowly, I am a very intelligent woman, but I'll make my son to write my stuff. And actually, so many things I used to tell him, you do it, because it just happens so often. And I'll go, for example, to the GP or to the market, and even with friends, I say, you put that down. I'm making my personal assistant by force. Then it just happened that another person feel the same thing. So for me, to talk about it is very important because I don't know how many people around the world suffer from that kind of trauma and situation without them understand. Now I'm happy that I can write, I can experience my mother's handwriting, the way she taught me, I can read. And then I never understand how I can live with migraine all the time, but all those are signs, and it's good to know that all those signs, so I'm putting them down and I'm practicing to help others, because if you see those signs, you just think it's normal when it's just stress and trauma, and you need to go deep inside to find out what is it that is causing it by talking to people.
Thanks. Jenny, do you want to? you want to say anything in response to that?
Shift to positive. I think hope is the main thing that I see, a very sudden shift. I worked with a group of few thousand rape victims down in eastern Congo. The women were naked. They'd seen their husbands and children killed. So they were raped in front of their husbands and children, and then the children and husbands were killed in front of them. They were sharing clothes to go out and beg. And a school in Australia gave me some money, and I bought rolls and rolls of native material and paid a tailor to make them some clothes. And I'll never forget the difference is these women, some of them were mute, they couldn't write, they couldn't barely walk, they were collapsing, any loud noise, they would fall unconscious. And I showed them how to manage their trauma symptoms and then gave out rolls and rolls of this material. And I think it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen is they said, and I still get a bit upset about it, they said we thought our government, our village, the world had forgotten about us. We were vermin on the streets, even our families shoot us away because they're so poor they can't feed us. But to know that some schoolgirls in Australia sent money for us to have Congolese clothes, because over there, as you would see, is crates and crates of very Western old clothes are given for them to wear. So for them to have a Congolese outfit that they wore with dignity is those women stood up and just said, today we are now, we are Congolese women, because they could wear their national costume. We gave them soap, they washed themselves up. And they were once a symbol of shame because the military, everyone in that village of Bukavu on the outskirts saw them as their shame. We couldn't protect our women, we couldn't protect our children. And they then marched through the streets in their brand new clothes and just said, we are not rape victims anymore, we are Congolese women. And they turned that whole region around because they went, these were the worst traumatised people we had seen, and look at them now. So they now work with the military and the police. So I think hope is critical, hope that someone else is aware. And like that's, I think, the gift that Leah has, is telling people. Because, you know, for us as well, I have a private practice here in trauma. If people go through trauma and don't believe that anyone knows or wants to listen or dismisses it, that's a secondary trauma. So for them to know that Australian girls heard about their plight and were willing to buy them a dress, which is what they want, it was amazing. So I think hope is that turning point.
Yeah, I think for me, what makes me succeed to approach these women and to make them talk about themselves. And before I used to think I'm selfish because I'm doing good so I can heal, I can feel for myself. But I realized that I'm feeling better when I'm out there. Actually, I'm a very happy person when I'm in the village. I don't go to Bukavu and Goma and be in town. I spend most of my time in the village. And it's easy for me because I go inside and I can see somebody in pain and I see the sign and I see the whatever they are going through, and I've been there, so I use my experience to tell them how to come out of it. And if you see the video, okay, I do love also. So I buy a lot. I don't take goods in Congo. I take money, so when I reach there, I buy a lot of wrappers. You see in the video, I buy rice, I buy soap. I only take medicine, actually. When I'm here, I buy a lot of paracetamol. I use the little skills of my medical world. I just take things like painkillers that I think is good. I take antibiotics because I have assistance from doctors who teach me how to use them. I take, because in Congo at the moment, people are suffering from diabetes, but without knowing that you can't mix the medicine from diabetes. If you have malaria, it kills them so quick, and that's something that I realize. Somebody will go to the hospital with malaria, and before they treat them malaria, you have to check if they don't have diabetes, otherwise it's quick and they die. So I'm grateful for the UK because most of the time I announce a month or two before I go, so I got a lot of little tests for malaria, for diabetes. And I give to them so they can check for themselves, and they're happy. Just with the little things, they are very happy about that. I, for example, teach them, because for me, I was very surprised to see these children who are born from rape, but their mothers, they're so happy to have them. They hold them, they take them to school, they go and find food. I found them a lot, actually. I don't support Panzi Hospital anymore because Panzi is in town, but when you go deep in the villages, like there is a Walungu Hospital which is huge than this university, but nobody think about it because they think it's far, it's too dangerous. But actually, it's a very close place because in people like Kanyola, Mwenga, they can't reach in town where Panzi Hospital is. But if the world support Walungu Hospital, it's easy and it make people not to die because it's very close to their villages. So I do that a lot, and what I do is I supply, like Walungu Hospital doesn't have electricity. Congo is not a very organized place. So some hospitals, they don't have a lot of things. So I raise awareness. I take things like buying them a group electrician so that there is a hospital. So if that is happening, the women are being raped and they are suffering, they can have a piece of paper saying we are from everything is a benefit, and the doctors there, they treat them for free. But most of the time about trauma, really I use my experience to tell them how to deal with them, with their own problem.
What I was just going to add to what I heard from both of you then was something, the practical things that you're doing, but also when you said about hope and what was happening for people. And what I'm hearing through there also is the importance of identity, of dignity and identity, and being able to transform identity from being something of being a victim to being someone who can regain then a positive sense of identity about who you are, like whether it's Congolese, Rwandan, or all of the above, the being a human being.
Well, most of them just want to be human being because, as I said before, if you see actually the work that I do, these women, they're saying, we are nobodies. The government, the world have forgotten us. I mean, I don't think if I didn't have any purpose to live, and actually they are suffering, but they don't want to be a charity case. They don't want to know that they have to receive all the time. Because I remember sometime I just been in Congo for some different reason. I went actually to the Women International March in October last year, and I didn't have a chance, and because I didn't have money, I just finished writing the book. Actually, I only went because the UK have chosen me to go and represent the women in Congo because of the things that I've been doing. So I didn't have a time, but somehow they knew I was in town. And I reached because I give some of them mobile phones, the local Nokia and stuff. I leave it in the village so I can communicate with them. And they say, Mama Leah, we are very upset with you. And I said, why? Do you think we didn't know that you were in town and you didn't visit? So I say, I'm so sorry. It's because the charity is not doing very well. I didn't have a chance to fundraise. I don't have money. I am terrible with technology. Therefore, I got nobody to do my website to raise awareness about you. My website is very poor, but slowly, slowly, I'll get there. And they said, we don't need your money. All we need is you to tell us everything is going to be fine. When you sit with us, we go in the farm together, we just say, this European woman, that's how they call me, and you come here and you spend time with us, that's all we need. Teach us about different things, show us love. Actually, they do love hugging. And that, it's incredible because in my world, I never, apart from, I suffer when I'm a grown-up. But when I was a child, in Rwanda, we love hugging. That's how we say hello. We don't shake hands. And it's a sign of saying, I love you. Sign of saying everything is gonna be fine. Actually, if I tell you, it can take 5 minutes for me to greet you and to pass my blessing and you to give me back my blessing. So we have such a beautiful culture, which actually even going to the Congo and everything, we really don't shake hands. So these women, I think everybody, when they have a good hug, it's nice. So my group, actually, we do the hugging. So I say sometimes, you can hug yourself. It's so nice to hug yourself. It's so nice to tell yourself you love yourself. So when I teach things like that, they say, we really don't need your money, Mama Leah. They call me Mama Leah. We all want, if you can have that ticket and come and see us. Sometimes I don't have money. Actually, if I can tell you the truth, my charity is very poor. But instead of me going and visit them, I think I should send that money, that's £600, and he buys them soap, whatever, rice, and they eat. And usually they say, no, we want to see you because we want to talk to you. So I encourage people who think, I mean, it was incredible to hear that your son is just there. Who want to live this beautiful country and go and expose themselves in a malaria, in a heat like Bunia? I don't think so. But it touched me to see somebody from Australia, a white person, go to Bunia. I don't know if you have an idea what Bunia is, full of malaria. He's sitting there and helping people. Very humble. I mean, I used to think I'm doing it because I'm paying gratitude to the world, but that is seriously a good therapy. It makes me happy to see that. I don't care if my charity is poor, really, because I know that I raise awareness and other people are doing my job, which is good because I hate fundraising. I don't know how to do it, but I know that because I've been talking for more than 3 years, and I know I shake Europe. I know that for a fact. So last year I used to think maybe I'm going to close the charity and continue to just use my mouth because I'm good at it. And that, I'm going to use you people to go to Congo, to go to Rwanda, to go to Yugoslavia, to go to wherever, Malawi. And today I just see my good friends Somalians. I don't know how to deal with that case, but I'm working on it. But somebody needs to do it. We can't wait for, because Africa, it's a big challenge. It's a mirror of the rest of the continent. And if you think that is not affecting you, I'm afraid to say it's wrong. There is cause and effect. Wherever is happening in all these countries that is a war, and you think I'm gonna sit here, it's not gonna affect you because I have a beautiful university, I have a health care, I can go to the hospital anytime I want. Wrong. Because I don't think that if there is peace in Congo, Congo is so beautiful. Congo, I'm afraid, is feeding and helping more than 16 countries. Is giving electricity to the world. The reason of Congo, that's why we are using all sorts of stuff, mobile phone and things. Therefore, people are suffering there. Are we not ashamed? I think we should. And I don't care what the politicians are doing. Now I'm not talking in politics because I'm tired of fighting politicians. Seriously, if there is somebody who's sitting here and not feeling my pain, I'm ashamed of coming to Australia. I don't care about what Kagame is doing to the country, what Kabila is doing to the country, what actually I used to say all the time, whatever Bush, I don't like that. I'm talking about us. Let's use our humanity to help somebody else. Because if you think Australia is not affected about what is happening in Malawi, in Somalia now, wrong. You're using all the media. You are paying all these journalists and paparazzi to show in all television what is happening in Malawi. Talking about Gaddafi, where the hell the international community was when he spent more than 40 years in power? Now that he refused to give the world the petrol, he becomes selfish, that he always been selfish in his life. Then we create a whole sort of story to bring the television, nothing the news is talking about bad news, only bad news. Who want to hear bad news? It's depressing. I'm sorry to take all this time. I don't know how much time we have. But just think about it. And what is it that we can do to change the world? I want to hear some good news.
Let me tell you some good news.
We have three, just before you do that, because we do have about 3 minutes. But I do think that hopefully, I was going to say that maybe all of your questions were answered by what Leah was saying. But yes.
Just some good news is it's true what you say about things happening around the world affect us. We don't have a charity mentality, Trauma Aid, is we have a partnership with the people in Congo, because what I found in Congo was a people that were so resilient and so positive and so community-based that they have something we don't have here. In Australia, in my private practice, I struggle to put somebody in a good environment. So they come in very lonely, very traumatised, and I say, who are your support network? Who is your community? Who is this? It's no one, no one. You know, regularly we have people die here. You find their bodies next door, and when I tell the Congolese that, they cannot believe it. Over there, like there's 6.5 million people being killed since the genocide in Rwanda. So if you times that by the country, every single person there has been affected. So if you're going to help a people, then you've got to empower them to do it themselves. So I've had a partnership with the Congolese to learn from them, to bring back to Australia how to build community here again, how to make us care about other people, how to look out for one another. And I take to them the resources we have here. So I take education and skills, basically physical and intellectual resources. They give me emotional and spiritual resources to bring back. And so the knowledge I learn there helps here, and the knowledge we have here helps there. So it's very much an equal partnership, and the dignity that I saw that give the people, I think, is the most healing. To see elderly men cry because they said, you are the first white person who has ever asked us what we have to teach you. Like, people come in, they do things, they don't ask our opinion, they don't ask our culture, they come in and they do things and they leave. You are the first white person to have asked us for our knowledge. And I was so ashamed to be white. So the good things that is happening is that I am learning from there actually how to treat trauma. The knowledge that we use to heal whole communities there was learnt from the Congolese. And so I'm now working with a doctor from Harvard University and Macquarie University here, and the Congolese, the leaders in trauma management now. I work with the military there, and the French military came and went, oh my goodness, like, we have only just introduced this into our military in the last 12 months, like, you're years ahead of us. Like, you know, so we've now got the European Union working with the military in Congo. And to see the dignity that that gives people to use your knowledge to help us rebuild community in our country, I think that's a good thing, is we're learning. We've forgotten how to be community. Over there, we don't give them money. Is the chief donated land, the orphans grow the food to feed the orphans and the teachers, the widows look after them. Everybody pitches in. So I go over and basically look at the shattered pieces of a massacre and use what's left to rebuild community, and I can do it there. I can't do it in Australia.
Everything is a benefit to have 18 hectares of land.
Yep.
I do have it. So I want to know how many people, I don't want your money, I want your time, okay? The land is there, and it can save these women. They don't know how to grow, because in Walungu, the ground, I don't know if anybody ever been to Bukavu, is very tough. So it's dry because they was not using the land because of the war. Everybody was running, so nobody is going to the farm. So therefore, there is a lot of anger. In town, there is not enough food to go around in Bukavu or in town. And it's happened also in Goma, in Ruchuru. So usually, the East Congo was feeding almost the whole Congo. So Congo is suffering because of the problem in East Congo. The whole Congo is suffering. Kinshasa, they don't have good food. Good food, actually, and vegetable, fruit, potatoes, beans, you name it, all the nice stuff, even the meat, fish, comes from East. So if there is East, there is no peace. The whole Congo is suffering. As I said, I'm terrible at fundraising. Everything, the benefit is yours. Everybody who hear my message and want to help our house, the world, you are good students, I believe, you're more intelligent than I am, step in. tell me how is it, what is it that we are going to do with 18 hectares to help these women? Because I don't know, I don't have an idea, and I've never been a farmer. I'm not a builder, I don't know how to do, but I will be very happy, and it's free. I donate it. It's free, it's yours, it's for the world. Let's do something about it. Please step in, because I'm out.
Yes, good on you, sister, get out.
Thank you.
They've
There.
done enough to you in your life, haven't they? Don't let the bloody fundraisers use you and make your life even more of a misery.
But I think that that's the reason I survive. My mission is to really save the world and help, I hope, Australia to remain beautiful and calm as a little bit I can. That's my donation, and I hope I'm doing that. So thank you very much.
Beautiful timing. Now, apologies to those who may have been sitting on questions. That was, but Leah. But I would like to recommend that if you want to buy Leah's book out the back there, and Leah will be available to sign copies. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, starting with mine.
Thank you for my funds. Actually, I did have another beautiful pills that I use. That is your emails, Sydney. Your messages you send to me, my friends on Facebook, because usually, seriously, I'm sorry, if I'm your friend on Facebook, you know that I suck. I don't respond, do I? But I do love you. And your message, your beautiful experience, I'm so happy to know that my book is not just saving Rwanda, is not saving Congo, is also helping the whole world to understand their own problem. So thank you again. And seriously, I do love you, it's just I don't do much of Facebook. Thank you.